There he is.
हाय।
देर आए दोस्त आए। कैसे हो भाई?
ऑल ठीक, आप कैसे हो?
ऑल वेल। मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ। ऑल द बेटर टू सी योर लवली
अपोलॉजीज
फेस। मैं अपने
आपको।
व्यूअर्स को बता रहा था कि मैं हरित बिल्कुल बिल्कुल आई कैन हियर यू फाइन एंड आई वाज टेलिंग आवर व्यूअर्स कि मैं और हरित दोस्त होने के साथ हम फॉर्मर कॉलीग्स भी थे अ लॉन्ग टाइम अगो। सो ऑलवेज गुड टू सी यू। इट्स बीन अ व्हाइल सिंस वी मेट
यस।
हरित। 2019 वर्ल्ड कप was when we were together. All well with you?
या ऑल वेल। रियली enjoying
Good.
whatever you are doing, all the multitasking work। बहुत बेहतरीन।
Multitasking, that's a good term. Chaliye, let's get straight into it. I was talking to our viewers before you joined about the Virat Kohli. Everyone has an opinion on Virat Kohli. Harit, where do you stand on this debate? Are you someone who feels that it's premature to judge him on his on his stats and his form, given all that he's achieved, or are you leaning to the side कि भाई अब उन्हें एक फॉर्मेट से ब्रेक लेना चाहिए?
देखिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जेमी, आई थिंक इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड what exactly the situation the team is in. There has been a leadership change, there has been a management change, the approach has changed. और जैसे रोहित शर्मा ने कल प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में आफ्टर द थर्ड T20 आए बताया कि हम एक नया बैटिंग अप्रोच इस टीम में ला रहे हैं, जहां हर बैट्समैन को अल्ट्रा अग्रेसिवली खेलना पड़ेगा। इसीलिए आपने देखा कि जैसे विराट कोहली क्रीज पर आए, उन्होंने फर्स्ट सेकंड बॉल से ही छक्के चौकों की ट्राई किया टू स्कोर दोस क्विक रन्स। Perhaps every batsman is going through that phase. So in such an ultra aggressive approach, the chances of failing are much more than succeeding. And you have to also respect the conditions. It's still English conditions for Indian batsmen. But it's not an excuse. They have to adapt to it.
Yep.
It is, of course, a litmus test for everyone, I think, with Virat Kohli, because he's been such a phenomenal player that you expect, just tons of runs from him. So a 20 or a 30 will not really, suffice you, as fans want him to raise his bat every time he goes or walks onto that field, which is not possible. And but given the player, the caliber that he is, I think we should be patient about what everyone thinks about Kohli. Certainly dropping him is not an option, because the guys who are coming in are pretty new. They don't have that international experience as yet. So just to base them, say for example, people have been saying Huda, could why is he left out? He scored runs. He scored runs in IPL. He's doing well. He scored a ton in Ireland, but still he's quite new. And remember, we will be playing T20 World Cup in Australia, where we will require a lot of experience going into that big tournament. मे बी फॉर बायलैटरल्स आपका चल जाता है थोड़े से इनएक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर्स के साथ, बट probably you need little more experience, and I think Virat has wealth of experience. Again, the biggest factor is Virat has done phenomenal in Australia. His records speak for himself. So I don't think we should jump the guns and say just because others अच्छे कर रहे हैं तो विराट को बिठा दो।
The valid point you've raised here, because I expected such an answer from you, because that's how you read the game. एक तो बहुत सारे हमारे viewers कह रहे हैं बिल्कुल वेलकम हरित, और वो आपकी बात से सहमत हूँ. You have basically touched upon four different things that I picked up. I'm gonna go one by one. You mentioned the fact that Virat Kohli has the caliber, he has the experience, right? But you also mentioned Rohit ने कल जो कहा था PC में हरित about trying to adapt to a new game and trying to take the team to the next level, kahin na kahin keeping in mind the World Cup, which is happening in 4 months, right? Rohit Sharma himself falls into that category. He's a batsman who's also not been in strong form across the T20 format, and I'm sure when he the question posed to him was in regards to Virat Kohli. But Rohit के मन में होगा कि यार ये सवाल मेरे पे भी लागू है. I also need to adapt. Now, keeping the adapt, I frankly have been very impressed by this new, I won't say philosophy, but the new approach that sort of came out from these T20s. बेशक आप individual score ना बनाए, but let's all try and boost our run rate. Rohit did not get big scores, but the strike rate was nearing that 200 mark, which is something we don't see from Rohit. Obviously, एक 35 साल के खिलाड़ी के लिए आसान नहीं है. That's exactly what you are saying. रोहित 35 के हैं, विराट कोहली 34 के हैं, and there's younger, fitter players knocking down the doors. One of them being Deepak Huda. There's Iyer, there's Samson, there's Surya. Surya is not a spring chicken, but he, to my mind, is the most important T20I बैट्समैन यहाँ पे हैं. और कल का शतक ने मेरे लिए ये बात साबित करी. So you have two players. One is captain. His place is perhaps in doubt. I think Kohli's place is in doubt. I'll be the devil's advocate and ask you, do you think फिलहाल कोहली के पास वो drive है to again reinvent himself, keeping in mind the World Cup? All that you said about Australia is 100% correct. Keeping that in mind, keeping the shore outside, keeping in mind the presence of a Huda and a Surya, do you think he has it in him to reinvent himself one more time at 34?
Jamie, coming straight to the point, you and I have seen these players. We have that little liberty of seeing them from close quarters.
Correct.
We know for a fact that Virat is such a player who will never ever hold on or try to hold on to his position if he's not giving his 100%. If we have seen him in the IPL, or if we have seen him in whatever matches that have been played after that, we have seen that uh, he has been trying everything that is under his control. Whatever he needs to
Yep.
do, he has been ticking everything. Whether it is practice sessions, whether it is innovating, whether it is playing to what the mantra of the team is, the new approach, the ultra aggressive approach. See, sometimes it may click, sometimes it may not click. And I don't think Virat is someone who is trying to hold on to his spot just because he wants to play another World Cup or he wants to achieve something, some more targets. I don't
Hmm.
think he's one of those players. So, purely, I don't, yes, his place could be in could be a concern, because ultimately you want your top batters to score runs. But that does not mean that, again, कि भाई बुरा खेल रहे हैं तो एक साल से 100 नहीं मारी है उन्होंने तो उसको बिठा दो. Certainly not a great
Okay.
thinking, I would
Okay.
say.
Yep. Fair enough. Before I continue, I'm going to put up a poll for our viewers here जो हमारे साथ काफी टाइम से जुड़े हैं. Does Virat Kohli need a break? Why I'm bringing up the break thing is क्योंकि हरित यार मेरे लिए, and you know me, I'm very honest in my thing, मुझे ये ब्रेक वाला फंडा समझ में नहीं आता कि इतने सारे प्लेयर्स को आजकल लगातार ब्रेक क्यों मिल रहे हैं. लाइक रोहित इज जस्ट कम बैक, रोहित गेटिंग अ ब्रेक, हरदिक जस्ट कम बैक, ही इज गेटिंग अ ब्रेक. ऑल्सो द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द ब्रेक, how do you see it? Because we see so many times during a break the players are off doing ad shoots or something else. मेरे हिसाब से, and this is what Jatin Paranjpe was saying on the show last week, कोहली जैसे बंदे को ब्रेक के लिए he needs to isolate himself entirely and he needs to recharge himself by just shutting himself off. अब ये कहना आसान है भाई, but a person of Kohli's profile and stature, it's very hard for him to go off to, like, he'll have to go to maybe Antarctica and go into a igloo and hope that वहां पे कोई देसी नहीं है जो उसको पहचान ले. So it's very tough for him to take a break because the calendar also is very quick. आपको शायद 10 दिन 2 हफ्ते maximum आपको मिलेगा. Do you think the break idea actually works in Virat Kohli's favor right now? Or does he need to go just keep on batting? Because बहुत लोगों ने कहा था कि भाई आप ब्रेक में जाके आपका फॉर्म वापस नहीं आएगा.
I think break is a good option
Hmm.
because it's mundane cricket, and certainly you don't see any fault in his batting. If you see,
Exactly.
it is not his technique, which was the case during the 2014 England tour.
Yep.
Where he was getting edged. Anderson caught at slips, caught by the wicket keeper. That was a technical flaw. Recently, Sunil Gavaskar, I think, pointed out that he's playing a little too early, his shots. But apart from all these things, there has just been nothing which is technically wrong in his batting. It's just that
Absolutely.
he's not getting what he wants to get. He's getting the starts, but he's not converting it, which is very surprising because it's his hallmark. He has never scored. He's been never satisfied with 100. If he scores a 50, he goes to 100. If he scores 100, he goes to double ton. So that aspect of his game is little surprising. But we also have to understand that he, in his personal life, has been going through a lot of transition. The baby, the arrival of the baby, then the change in captaincy, the way he was shunted out of. So that I feel somewhere, and somewhere has not gone down well mentally. But perhaps taking a break can be a solution. There is
Yeah.
no harm in trying, because you are doing everything. You are attending every practice session. You are attending, even if it's a temporary optional training session. He's there
Correct.
on the field.
Yep.
In the IPL, we saw he was on the ball, everywhere. Whatever was required, he was doing. And it's not that he's not enjoying his cricket. Just recently, I mean, just a few hours back, I saw a video of him dancing to the dhols during the Edgbaston match.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that he's not enjoying, but somewhere I think uh, maybe if he takes a backseat and tries to see where he's gone wrong, maybe that will give him some sort
Yeah.
of an insight. And he's too big a player. He's too great a player, a modern legend. Who would not know what is going wrong. So I think it's something that can work in his favor. And if it doesn't work, he can very much come back to the game. At least he'll be a more refreshed.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and this is something, Harit, which we've discussed on several shows in the last couple months. Okay, like you rightly said, Virat Kohli up close, whether you're a journalist like you at the ground or you're a fan, he's not lacking for anything. वो बंदा वही process कर रहा है जिस process ने उन्हें इतने सारे run दी across formats, right? That's why it makes it all the more strange even for him. Do you think he's being judged perhaps a little unfairly, Harit, based on the poor IPL? Because his test form until this year was still decent. He was getting 70s and 60s and 40s. The one day, the guy has 650s in his last 11 one days. T20 form be last year ठीक था. Do you think he's being perhaps unfairly judged on the bad IPL he had when it comes to all this talk about his place in the T20I team?
Absolutely, you're spot on, Jamie. Because again, the records that he has set for himself, the standards, the gold standards of batting that he has set, perhaps that is what is haunting him now. People every time look at his last 100. When was that? His last 50. When was that? People don't look at the larger format. The larger picture. Certainly, to compare his IPL form to, and even the IPL, he did well in the last few innings, when RCB were about to
Yep.
qualify and stuff. So it's not that he wasn't doing great. It's just that the lofty standards he has set for himself are now coming back to haunt him.
Yeah. That's that's
That's what I
something
feel.
which everyone. No, no, and you're right, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with you, Harit, because Virat Kohli himself, through sheer hard work, you touched upon the 2014 tour. We all know कि उसके बाद उस बंदे ने क्या improvement, क्या बदलाव लाए अपने game पे. He took his game so high in the 5 years from the England tour of 2014. Next 5 years, the guy averaged 95 while scoring, double hundred almost every year. It is unfair that
Right.
against that high standards he has been judged. मैं मानता हूँ, but मेरा point ये है कि I think until this year, Harit, um, the problem was not so much about his form because he was getting 100 नहीं मारा कोई बात नहीं. Virat Kohli was not going through a slump. The actual slump has started this year where the mode of dismissals, as you also touched upon, the mode of familiar dismissals has now crept back in. You mentioned that Mr. Sunil Gavaskar has addressed it. Other players have. तो घुमा फिरा के बात वही होता है कि all that's happened off field. I'm one of the ones who agree कि the captaincy fiasco being told 90 minutes before a press conference. You know how this BCCI runs under Saurav Ganguly. There's a lot of things off field have led to him. But at 34, does Virat Kohli have the drive to come back? Because there's a T20 World Cup in 5 months. अगले साल हमारा घरेलू वर्ल्ड कप है. इंडिया हैव टू स्टिल aspire to make the WTC final next year. Against all that, and even the fact when Virat Kohli is not captaining, he knows कि 32 के 32 कैमरे मेरे ऊपर होंगे, no matter where Rohit Sharma is there. All of this, all told, the social media pressure, he can come to a press conference, Rohit can come and say भाई कि बाहर की दुनिया को हम नहीं मानते, but you and I, Harit, we know the truth. How much of all this has gotten to Virat Kohli here?
इनफैक्ट अगर कैमरास की बात करो जेमी भाई तो इट्स अ गुड डिस्ट्रैक्शन बिकॉज द रेस्ट ऑफ द टेन प्लेयर्स आर नेवर इन द फोकस इट्स ओनली
नहीं है.
विराट एंड and if you go to see, I would still say bet with Virat, take the
Okay,
risk,
okay.
go for him, go for him. Simple reason, just Virat's presence can create flutter in the opponents, you know, and they know, and they know for a fact that if इसको थोड़ा भी लीवे दिया ना तो ये बंदा ठोक डालेगा. He will just
बात
prove
सही है.
you. So that mental thing is always there in the opponent's mind कि यार Virat is still there, we have to still plan for him. Even if
Yeah,
he's going through a bad form, we have to still plan for him, we still have to plan his wicket. That's one thing. The other factor is, he takes away all the attraction from the he takes away all the focus from the team, from everyone else. So he becomes the center figure, whether he's the captain or whether he's not the captain. People, he's a big attraction. He pulls in the crowd, whatever his ways are. He can be intimidating, he can be over the
sure.
top in celebration, but he is still the focal point for Team India. He's still the focal point for everyone else, and I feel, if we go by the stats also in T20 cricket, it's not a bad year for him. His strike rate, his average is still the best. If you go by the standards of Indian batters, other Indian batters, uh, I feel, and his Australian records, I think we have to go for him.
Fair enough. Fair
There
enough.
is no doubt about it.
Fair enough.
And you need
Fair enough.
and you need a and you need a very experienced guy at that number three position. And apart from all this thing, his years of experience of captaining the team is also very crucial. He has
Sure.
strategies which Rohit can bank upon. Because if you remove Kohli from this setup, who else do you have in this team? Rishabh Pant is relatively new.
Yep.
Ravindra Jadeja does not have captaincy in him. We saw it
And
in
the
the
same
IPL.
the same with KL Rahul, Harit. He and Jadeja are in the same bracket for me.
Exactly. So who does Rohit have if we don't have Virat Kohli with him? See, Virat Kohli had MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni selectors still bet on him even if he was only scoring 10, 50, 20, 20 runs. But his
Hmm.
value to the team was much bigger than just those runs.
Sure.
So who does
Okay.
who does Rohit Sharma have apart from bankable
It's a
player like
valid point.
Virat Kohli?
That's a valid point. That's a valid point. I agree with you. यहाँ पे मैंने एक पोल लगाया था while we're talking for our viewers. Should Kohli retire from one format? 83% हमारे viewers कह रहे हैं कि हाँ उन्हें छोड़ना चाहिए. यही सवाल I asked to Jatin Paranjpe, a player you are very familiar with, and he said, look, he might have to. And in Jatin's mind, that was the one-day format. Given the number of one days that India played throughout a year, which is the most, do you think at 34 all that's happened, let's say कि अगर T20 वर्ल्ड कप तक विराट कोहली का T20 आई फॉर्म अच्छा नहीं हुआ, like so many players, he's at that stage where he'll have to drop one format to prolong his career. I think he still has a good 3.5 years in him, but not in all three formats. What do you think about this? Last question on Kohli, and then we'll move into some more positives about the team.
Um, I think till the T20 World Cup, we should see how he goes about.
Okay.
But I wouldn't recommend him quitting from one day cricket at the moment because next year we have the 50 over World Cup that's in India,
बिल्कुल
and
बिल्कुल
that's a huge thing for us.
बिल्कुल.
Certainly, you don't want to miss a player of Virat's caliber. So I would suggest, I mean, I don't think he should quit at the moment. Maybe if he has to quit, I would say T20 cricket he can give up.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'm on the same page, and I told Jatin
But
that day.
ODI and Tests we
बिल्कुल
need.
भाई, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, I'm on the same page. I even told Jatin that day, I said, I think Virat Kohli might even have two ODI World Cups left in him if he can just recalibrate and get that drive again. Because ये वाला तो मतलब almost आ ही गया, अगले साल है, 15 months away. If he does well, they're knowing he might even go off at one more. It's a long stretch, but I agree with you. He should perhaps get rid of the T20 format. Like you said, T20 World Cup के बाद विराट कोहली World Cup जाएंगे, no doubt. But the debate will rage whether he should be in the 11. I think I'm going to slightly disagree with you. I think Deepak Huda should get some chances because he perhaps buys in more to that approach of scoring the brisk 30s. But we can talk different. Let's very briefly, we have 10 minutes left. Let's shift focus to this T20I series. A lot of positives. Surya, Deepak Huda, Arshdeep Singh, a lot of good things. What for you, if I can put you on the spot, what are the two main takeaways or three main takeaways from this 2-1 series win?
Definitely Surya Kumar,
Brilliant.
one of the biggest factors. Because yes, he was there, but this his last knock has just sealed his place. I think he's one of the most bankable players if we count. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, I think
Hmm.
people tend to miss this because बहुत low key रखते हैं अपने आप को. He's
बहुत ही.
never in your face. But the way he's been bowling, I think credit to Bhuvneshwar because we got this 2-1 series win, which
Correct.
was so important. Apart from that, I feel elevation of Rishabh Pant is very surprising, to the top
अच्छा.
spot. I
Okay. Okay.
think that's a gamble Team India is playing, taking,
हाँ.
to open with Rishabh Pant because of the obvious factor that they want left and right combination,
ठीक
and they
ठीक.
want Rishabh Pant to just create havoc, up front. It's a big
Yeah.
risk because Rishabh Pant's strengths, as we have seen, lies in the middle order where he can take on the opposition when the bowlers are little tired.
Yeah.
And I feel it's a gamble, but it's worth it.
It's
I
worth
think
it.
it's worth it.
सही है. I'm going to bring up another poll for our viewers since you rightly talked about the low key Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Is Bhuvneshwar Kumar locked in for the World Cup? हरित मैं खुले में बोल सकता हूं कि पिछले साल अक्टूबर नवंबर when Bhuvneshwar was going through a bit of a lean patch, I was one of the guys who said openly कि भाई India need to look beyond him. I'm very glad and impressed that Bhuvneshwar Kumar has come back so well. We saw in the home series, we saw here, the pace की बात नहीं है. He's using पूरा अपना अनुभव, अपना दिमाग to bring the ball in. He to me has locked himself in for one final shot at glory with India's T20 squad. That is in Australia. I want to see what our viewers are saying. 67% कह रहे हैं कि बिल्कुल सही है. He has locked himself in because had Deepak Chahar not got injured, perhaps Bhuvneshwar Kumar would not be getting these many chances. They're almost a like for
Absolutely.
like. चेयर के पास थोड़ा पेस ज्यादा है बट देर दैट कन्वेंशनल स्विंग टाइप बॉलर्स वेरी ग्लैड टू सी हिम अब रही बात ऋषभ पंत की मैं थोड़ा इनको लेके अगेन खुले बोल सकता हूं मैं थोड़ा स्केप्टिकल हूं अबाउट दैट मिडल ऑर्डर स्लॉट बिकॉज he seems so confused especially in T20s. This guy is a match winner in test matches, so I'm okay with the risk as you said of trying him in T20s. बट बात यह है कि इंडियन टीम ने ये रिस्क लिया था बिकॉज देयर फर्स्ट चॉइस ओपनर केएल राहुल फिलहाल यहां पे नहीं है. हैड राहुल बीन अराउंड दे ओपन विद रोहित एंड हिम. इफ ऋषभ पंत इज नॉट ओपनिंग but the struggles he has in the middle order, do you think is he still a certainty in the T20 team? Because I think if he has another couple bad series in the middle order like Kohli, इस बंदे के ऊपर भी बहुत सारे लोग सवाल उठाएंगे.
But then, okay, hypothetically मान लो उसके पास नहीं चलता है बल्ला,
हाँ.
तो then
हाँ.
what do you have? You don't have any left-hander in your lineup apart from Jadeja.
Correct.
which
Do you?
again was the problem in the 2019 World Cup, where
सही बात है.
you know where you had just one set of batsmen coming in if Shikhar Dhawan was dismissed early.
Fair enough. So it's a lack. It's a lack of left hand keeper batsman. You have ईशान किशन, पर वो भी अपने आप को
That
जूझ रहे हैं और वो टॉप ऑर्डर प्लेयर हैं. He doesn't fall in the middle order.
एग्जैक्टली सो ईशान किशन को अगर मिडिल ऑर्डर में आप ट्राई करोगे, इट्स अ डिजास्टर. यू आर हेडिंग फॉर अ डिजास्टर.
I
I
like the
feel
honesty.
I feel Pant is a great bet. Whether he's in, he's a सहवाग type of a player यार. मतलब ये बंदा कभी भी गेम का रुख बदल सकता है टाइप. ही कैन जस्ट चेंज द कॉम्प्लेक्शन ऑफ द गेम. सो
Sure.
आई डोंट थिंक ऋषभ पंत पे इतना ज़्यादा स्क्रूटिनी है फिलहाल.
फिलहाल
एंड
okay.
अगर है तो थोड़ा डिसअपॉइंटिंग है, व्हेन इफ पीपल आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ऋषभ पंत्स प्लेस, because he's a phenomenal player. Yeah, we have seen that. And see, it doesn't take, for these professional players, it doesn't take much time to to replicate what they do in Test cricket. Test cricket, he's phenomenal. One
Yep.
day cricket, he's a proven customer. It's just that T20 में उसका रोल का क्लैरिटी नहीं है, and
ये बात सही कही. बिल्कुल
दैट इज
बिल्कुल.
वाई ही स्ट्रगलिंग. क्योंकि आप कभी भी उसको कुछ भी करने भेज देते हो. कभी नंबर 4 पे आ जा रहा है, कभी नंबर
Yep.
7 पे है, 6 पे है, अभी ओपनिंग है. लेट देयर बी सम कंसिस्टेंसी फॉर दैट गाय यार. ही इज यंग, ही इज वेरी यंग to
Point.
handle different roles altogether. And if the
Fair
team
enough.
management is thinking of him as an opener candidate, then they should back him to the hilt. They shouldn't just drop him uh, just like that.
Yeah.
They shouldn't just drop him like a hot potato. I feel he should be given that long rope. And KL Rahul is very flexible. He can be an opener. He can be a middle order. He can bat really well at any given stage and at any
Correct.
given
Correct.
position. So I think KL Rahul is an asset. Rishabh Pant is your ट्रम्प कार्ड. अगर आप ऋषभ पंत को बाहर बिठाने की सोच भी रहे हो तो इट्स
Like
नो
you
नो,
said, it's a
कंप्लीटली
disaster
नो.
waiting to happen. Yeah, yeah. बहुत सारे हमारे व्यूअर्स तुम्हारी बात से सहमत हैं. And I put up a poll saying, should Rishabh Pant be tried an opener? 67% said yes, he should be tried. But like you said, Harit, if you're going down that route, do not do it 2-3 matches. Do not do it one series. Give him a longer rope. मैं आपकी बात से सहमत हूँ.
एग्जैक्टली.
One last question on Hardik Pandya, a person who again 6 months ago we were all wondering कि भाई बंदा NCA में है, NCA में नहीं है, क्या हो रहा है bowling. He comes back out of the blue, has a phenomenal IPL run, leads Gujarat Titans to the title. He's bowling 140. He's batting at number 4. The promotion clearly seems to have worked. Shedding that baggage of batting at number 7 from Mumbai Indians seems to have worked wonders for him, his confidence. अभी इंडिया के कप्तान रह चुके थे जब जब रोहित शर्मा एब्सेंट थे. He's got 50s. From an Indian perspective, Indian cricket perspective, कितना अच्छा है कि ये बंदा as an all-rounder फायर कर रहा है भाई in a World Cup year.
We couldn't have asked for a better time for Hardik Pandya
Yep.
to bounce back. And the way he's bounced back, it's truly inspirational. Like you said, people had thought कि बस इसका खेल खत्म, ये IPL to IPL खेलेगा लगता है ये बंदा, और इसका कुछ आगे नहीं होने वाला है. We have lost a
Yep.
very good player. Blah blah blah. But here he comes out of the blue. We saw him train at MIG in Mumbai. He was training all alone, no one, no fanfare, no nothing. And he goes on, wins the IPL for the Gujarat Titans in its debut year. Comes to the Indian team setup, does exceedingly well, and the most heartening thing is that he's bowling to his full potential. And I think Hardik Pandya has, in this injury time, he has also become more matured. If the way he handled things in the
Yeah.
IPL, the way he's handled things in Ireland, I think he's become more mature in his thought process. He's understood his game, I think, much better than anyone else now. He knows exactly what his strengths are. He knows what could be the weaknesses, and he's basically banking on things which are under his control. he's
Yep.
he's ultra cool about everything now. He's not rushing into anything. He's taking his time, whether it is bowling, whether it is his batting. I think he's on a we have this Hardik Pandya 2.0 version
Hmm.
in front of us. I think that's
बिल्कुल
the
सही.
scene.
And again, I agree with you. The maturity which is he's brought in, with whether it be himself or be it post that talk show fiasco or becoming a father, जो भी है, it actually has seen the result being Hardik Pandya 2.0. One last question before I let you go, as well as for our viewers here. I'm also going to bring in one more poll here. Do you like India's new batting philosophy? Because I believe all the names we've discussed here, even Rohit Sharma, even Kohli, Deepak Huda, Surya, Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant, they've all in a short span of time bought into this new approach कि भाई strike rate को थोड़ा बढ़ाओ. This question is for you as well as for our viewers. Your final take on this. Is it risky or is it something they can build on, keeping in mind the World Cup?
It is risky, but that is how every team is playing. Look at the
बिल्कुल.
approach England is getting in. Look at the approach Australia is getting in. So if you have to be in the top bracket, you have to challenge these guys. You need to have that fire in you as well. So yes, it is putting players out of their comfort zone. We have never
Yep.
seen Kohli go bang bang from ball one. We have never seen all that kind of things before. But I feel it is the right approach. Yes, it brings a lot of risk, but it is also very rewarding if things fall in place. And you have time. I think you have time to figure that out. If it's not
Yep.
working, then it's not working. But at least try that. At least try that. Try that approach and see what can unfold. Maybe. And
Correct.
we don't have to worry so much because we have so many talented batters as well as bowlers to bank upon if things don't go as per the plans. So I feel it is very very, it could be very very rewarding, but at the same time, yes, it will have its own risk element. Main thing is how sustainable are you with this philosophy. If the team
Yeah.
is if the players are buying, if they are buying this philosophy, they are saying yes, we'll go for it,
Correct.
then you are on. But if the players are not mentally in sync with this policy, then there is a problem.
And that's
So
where
I
and
think that is what
that's where the risk
something
could be.
Rohit and coach Rahul Dravid have to figure it out. That are my players going for this? Are they happy taking this approach, or are they
Yep.
happy doing what they were doing earlier, which was also rewarding? Which was not that
Yep.
we were doing very bad,
Yeah.
but yes, this will bring out something new. Something new of all the players. Maybe we would have never seen that side of their talent ever. So it's exciting.
Right.
It's certainly exciting, and
Yeah.
I think we can trust in Rahul Dravid that whatever they are doing will take Indian cricket to newer heights.
Absolutely well said, and I would not have expected any less an astute observation from someone like you. बहुत हमारे viewers Harit are saying Harit is right. अरे हरित भाई को आप लोग जानते नहीं. Harit भाई is most times he's right in his observation. Thank you मेरे भाई for taking out time. 45 minutes almost हो
Thank
गए यहाँ पे.
you.
Absolute pleasure, and you had some apprehensions about coming on video. I'm saying debut बहुत अच्छा रहा. आगे भी और भी ऐसे करते रहो.
Thank you, Jamie.